I'm not all here where I am. I don't know if I'm all there where they are. That's not really for me to say.
No, it's not.
But I really don't know if I'm here until my existence is validated by others. But we will also proceed as if we are. See if we can remember how to do this after an oopsie extra week off. Hello.
Hi.
Kayla Lords.
John Brownstone.
Of Loving BDSM, where we help kinksters like you have happy, healthy power exchange relationships. We are here for our weekly live stream, which is when we record our podcast, the audio version of which hits all major podcast apps every Friday. We are here 5 minutes early. If you are here for the live stream and don't like idle chit chat, you got a few minutes. If you are here after the live stream, but before I put in timestamps, and you don't like idle chit chat, fast forward by about 5 minutes.
See, there you go.
We are also here at our summer time. We did this for the first time last year. We're bringing it back because none of us want to sweat like that on camera.
No.
The midday heat is so bad I get sick to my stomach.
Yeah.
So that's no fun either. I'm going to say hi to folks who are here. Hi, Base Eats. Hi, Bad Cat. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Alessi Thesaurus. Hope I said that right. So, yeah, different time for at least the next 3 months. It was supposed to have started last week. I got sick. Hi, Brittany. I got sick, and I actually laid my ass down in the bed and slept for 2 days.
Very, very impressed with her. She actually took care of herself.
I think I'm just too damn old to power through anymore. Like, I just don't even have it in me. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No, there's no powering through.
I get it. I do.
But now we've upended our Wednesday schedule, and all 3 of the humans living in this house are very routine oriented, but so is Lola. So
yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how she reacts to us sitting back here tonight.
Well, considering we just literally recorded one of the most chaotic audio podcast intros ever. I'm literally trying to say, hey, we're here. This is why we were gone. And this is what we're doing for this week's episode. And JB is in the background, off to the side, playing with the dog.
Yeah. And
Hi, Enchanted Wings. Okay, cool.
you know, and now she's laying in her cot peacefully. So it worked.
Now, part of it was we would have recorded the intro much earlier than we did, but I was on mom duty with the oldest, who's been having... His whole college experience so far has been nothing but girl problems.
Yeah.
I feel so bad for him. As we were getting off the phone, he was like, fuck it, I'm done. I'm never trying to, like, date again. And we all know that's hyperbole. Of course he will eventually. But it's like, okay, take care of yourself. Hi, Charlotte. You know. But, yeah. So, we've already started off. We're already outside of our normal time. Everything's wild and wacky. I am not sweating through my shirt, though.
No, you're not.
So I'm enjoying that.
No, you're not.
But we do have this. It's not. I guess it's new because I kind of started it in the past couple months. When I get too hot, I say I need to go to a dark, cold room. That's our bedroom. It's the coldest room in the house. And I just lay across the bed in the dark until I cool off. So that's what I did after dinner. But also, we've, like, eaten dinner. You've done the dishes.
Yeah.
Like, when we're done streaming, we have a list of YouTube videos we want to go watch together. This is weird.
And I know we're not going to get through them all tonight because there's that many of them.
Probably not, no. And this is a BDSM Reddit episode, so I'll get ranty-ish.
Yeah.
I always do I can't guarantee that I will get ranty, but we all know. If you've seen one of these, you know something's going to get my blood pressure up. So yeah, if I get ranty, then I'll run long. Plus, we're making up for, like, not being here for 2 weeks and then 1 week, and, like, so then it gets chatty, because of course it does. I don't know. It's just weird. But yeah, I know the new time throws folks
keep
who
folks off. Yeah.
the people who watch during the day, normally they get thrown off or it just doesn't work with their schedule. And the people who would be around at this time don't know to look for us yet. And so if you happen to be here while we're live, we're very grateful for you. So yeah. Also, hopefully our lighting will stay consistent because the sun is not passing behind clouds outside that window right behind the camera. So that should be nice.
Well, it's rainy.
It's also that
outside.
Yes.
We have had a thunderstorm come through earlier.
I completely missed it. Well, was it while
it wasn't a wild.
Was it while I was cooking dinner in the cold dark room or listening to the oldest, go through it?
It was before dinner.
So it was while I was cooking.
Yeah.
I definitely missed it then. Okay, it is 7:00. Let's get started. As you can tell from the title, we are responding to basically the kinky side of Reddit. I did choose one that as I was reading it, my blood pressure went up. So, oh my God, I was so annoyed. Y'all will be annoyed with me. I don't think anybody who hears it who is a rational human being and kinkster would question
think any different.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Anyway. Our shirts, because sometimes we get questions about that, are linked below. They're on our Etsy shop. I'm very proud of this one. Yep, look at you. Sporting repping the something words I'm too old for. Okay, if you enjoy this, we love a thumbs up. If you like it enough to want to come back for more, please consider subscribing.
And ring that notification bell to get updates, new content.
Just do what Daddy says. Life is very, very easy if you do. And yeah, so I guess you can hit a button. Okay, before we start reading Reddit posts and seeing how much I rant, a couple of announcements. One is just a quick reminder for anybody who might get this in their podcast feed and not have thought much about it a couple weeks ago, or come across the video later and is like, what is happening? We're on a summer schedule, so live streams are later. Audio podcast folks, you shouldn't tell a difference. The podcast comes out at the same time on Fridays as it has been, but there's no Monday episode until we get through our summer schedule. It's just too damn hot for all that. So we're on a limited schedule, just our weekly episodes through the summer. Ta-da! Also, next announcement, the Kinkery, we are doing as many and as fast as we can restocks, which will at some point at a date undetermined at this point because we're professionals will lead to a summer sale. We plan on having one this month. We just have to get restocked first.
I'm working my wood off, man.
You need to keep some of that wood. I'm just saying. Anyway, if you're like I too would like kinky toys on sale, if you subscribe to our the Kinkery newsletter, you will get the email that hey, the sale has started, and that goes out before we put it on social media or anything else. So that link is in the places. If you'd like to subscribe to the Kinkery newsletter, you also get a 10% off coupon code that doesn't have an expiration date. You could use it when there's no sale. So that's coming out. So, yeah.
Thekinkery.com.
Thekinkery.com. Okay. So, let's get started. The first one comes from the BDSM Am I the Asshole subreddit, which is run by our friend Princess Rara. Thank you for that. This one is a simple enough question and is not directly related specifically to kink, but I had about 85 thoughts, so I was like,
dear.
Well,
wow.
then we have to.
Okay.
So here we go. Am I the asshole for being honest? Me, male 27, and my husband, male 32, had a three-way with his friend. His idea was that we wanted to see if I would like it. He chose his cute friend, and the rest is history. Before the action happened, I noticed that his friend is much larger than him and more girthy. To be honest, I had more fun with him than with my husband. When the husband asked if I enjoyed it, I told him he doesn't want to know the truth. He explained that whatever I say, he's supported and that we need to be open about it. I told him that I really enjoyed his friend's size better, but he was also amazing. It's been about 3 days, and it seems that my husband has lost some sparkle since I was open with him. Am I the asshole for being honest with him, or should I have just told him that it was okay? You had a reaction as I was reading, so what are your thoughts? I had so many thoughts when I read this.
You know, this could go so many ways. Mm-hmm. I think if you really want to come down to it, they're both kind of being...
I think you do have to be careful when you ask your partner, how was it being with another person? Like, I do think there's some care to be taken with that question.
Yes, absolutely. Part of my reaction as you were reading that was because, oh my God, the way she's saying this.
They're two guys.
Okay.
Two guys.
Sorry. Yeah, the way he was saying, you know, the things about how it was, you know, you could be a little more diplomatic.
Yeah, I think that's the big problem. There's no diplomacy. It was like I either had to bare my soul and say the most hardcore, honest thing ever, or say nothing. And that's there were 85 million options between those two.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were so many options between like I get it that clear, honest communication is what we're going for.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that we as individuals aren't allowed to have inside thoughts that our partner maybe doesn't need to hear. Or if it is important enough that you think they absolutely need to know this, why they would need to know that particular thing, I don't know. But if it's something you think they absolutely ought to know, then depending on what it is, like diplomacy. This to me was not... If his husband had said, hey, I'm comparing sizes with the other guy, who do you like better? First of all, I don't think I'd have answered that question in general. But that is the time for that very specific answer. Yeah. If the husband was like, did you have a good time? How was it for you? You literally can go, I had a great time. I'd do that with that guy again in a heartbeat. Like,
I mean, even to answer the question, that question, I think, you know, I had a really good time, and I enjoyed you both for what they were.
Right.
Okay?
He was different, but it was fun. Now, if the husband started probing, then I think you're maybe in like territory that, you know, do you really want to know how the difference? Like, that's the time to go, do you really want to know? Because, and as I've said to JB a few times, you can't unknow if I tell you what I'm thinking. But, you know, I don't know, other than some sort of assuming the best intentions from the guy. If I assume best intentions, I don't understand what the purpose would be to tell your husband, your partner of any sort, about a thing they literally cannot change about themselves. They can't change their size, the length, the girth, none of it. Can they change techniques? Sure. Can you be like, hey, you know that thing that Chad did?
Tried, yeah.
I would like, why don't we try that, just the two of us? Like, you could do that, but what would be the and to tell the person you're married to that you liked the sex that you had better with this other person who you're not bringing, it doesn't seem like it from the question, bringing into the relationship. This is not like a thing where, but I also get that thinking that some people have, and I have it too from time to time, of if I don't tell you every thought I'm having, I'm not being open and honest, and we're not having clear communication. But truly some thoughts are inside.
Yeah. That diplomacy, man, it goes a long way.
I mean, a couple people have said it in the live chat. Size tends to be a very touchy subject for many people.
Yep.
And I don't know. Like, part of me wants to know, okay, are you generally clueless and you just say the first thing that pops in your mind? Are you trying to tell your husband something and this is... Like, it's not a dichotomy of, should I have been completely brutally honest and hurt my husband's feelings, or said it was okay? Like, there... Like, you should have just said it was okay. You should have just said it was okay. Yeah. Why would, are you mad at your partner for something else? Like, what? It feels a little, I'm reading into this, and I know I am. That feels passive aggressive. Yeah, he was way better than you. I had the best sex of my life with the other guy, but yeah, I'll stay married. Like, what? I want to believe he's just clueless. I want to believe he's just clueless. That's what I want to believe. So, Kim asked about ages.
Yeah.
The person who was being, air quote, honest is 27.
Late 20s.
And his husband is 32. So there's, a little bit on the age thing, but I would expect it more from like 21, 22.
Yeah, by 27, you should kind of start having some...
One would hope. One would hope. Okay. Let's go to the next one. This is the one. I'm going to try and get through it without stopping to let the steam come off my head. I don't know. Is my dom right? I'm at a loss. I've been with my dom for 4 years. I went to a lifestyle club for the first time this weekend by myself with his blessing and had a man pull on my collar twice, which I told the man not to. I didn't report the man right away as I was pissed off that he had done it, but I reported him the next day to the ambassadors. There's a no touching without permission rule at the club. I am very protective of my collar and get easily pissed when someone touches it in any manner. My dom is now saying I did not stand up for myself right away because I handled it myself instead of saying something to the ambassadors when it happened. My dom says it shows him that my collar does not mean as much to me as I say it does. He says that by, air quote, allowing someone to touch my collar, it's letting myself be violated by anyone and everyone. I did not, air quote, allow it. The man did not ask. He just reached up and pulled on it. I pushed his hand off, told him it was a no, as it was my collar given to me by my dom. He also says he feels I am unequipped to be a submissive because I cannot stand up for myself or conduct myself in a submissive manner, that I will always wait until the next day to stand up for myself. I grew up having to stand up for myself, so having someone to back me up or do it for me is a new concept I'm learning to adjust to. Am I completely in the wrong because I did not report the man right away? Is my dom right? I understand my dom feels disappointed and disrespected, but I did what I have known my whole life, to just stand up for myself because no one else will. I'm trying to see things from my dom side as well, but I'm struggling to see how my standing up for myself is not standing up at all. Also, I did not talk to my dom about it until the next evening because he was busy this weekend. He says that makes it seem like I would withhold information for weeks if I had hooked up with someone. I should have told him immediately as well. I probably should have, but I did not want to text it to him. I wanted to have an actual conversation about it. Was I wrong about that too? I'm literally speechless. Go ahead.
And this year, the Oscar goes to this dom for best dramatic performance.
Oh my God, best whiny baby bitch performance. What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my, so first of all, there's some projection there.
Right.
This one thing that they waited till they could have a verbal conversation instead of text conversation means that they would withhold information for weeks. Methinks he doth protest too fucking much.
Right. Right.
What have you been withholding 4 weeks that you didn't like? That's. But also, everybody reacts to shit differently. So some of us in the moment will stand up and say something. Some of us will back the fuck off and be like, maybe I'll tell somebody, maybe I won't. Everybody reacts to shit differently. The fact that this fucking dom is blaming his partner for what somebody else did and then using that as some grotesque reasoning that, does not make sense to me. And again, projection, that somehow they're not submissive enough.
Right.
Like, you, what? What? And first of all, you, fucking dom, were not disrespected. Your submissive was disrespected 100% and you can feel disrespected on their, thank you, on their 3 if you count the fucking dom they're with. Well. Like, you can be upset on their behalf. You can even say, I get it, that whole dom thing of my property. Like, okay, I'll let that go. But they were not fucking disrespected. The submissive was disrespected, and what the dom should have been fucking doing is going, are you okay? Do you need me to do anything? Do you'd want to not go to that club? Is that somebody I know? Do I need to talk to an ambassador myself? Like, how can I support you?
Right.
Not how can I fucking shame, and I don't want to say victim blame, because in the submissive's mind, they stood up for themselves. They did what they needed to do. So I'm not over here going, oh no, poor them. They seem to have handled it in the way that was best for them, the way they know how to handle it. If he wanted the submissive to handle it differently, then he needs to come in with some fucking ideas of, okay, next time, here's what I'd like you to do. If you could think about it, blah, blah, blah. This is how we could handle it going forward. Yeah, not that shamey bullshit.
And you know what? I kind of understand where the submissive is coming from, because I've been in a situation time or two throughout my life where something happens and it's like so out of the blue, so shocking that you can't immediately react or
you don't
do
even know
anything.
how to respond, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So, what she did was, I think, was absolutely right.
I know. I agree with live chat. I'd be handing that fucking collar back. Like, now I do. This is nothing to do with their question. Kim asked if there was an update, and they dumped the dom. Not that I can tell. That maybe deep in the comments, and I didn't see it. But no, they didn't come back and go, okay, I've gotten rid of that. No, they did not. Now, secondary to all this is not what this post is about. Who the fuck just walks up to somebody and touches their collar?
Right.
Honey, get your hands away from me. Personal fucking bubble. Just in general.
Yeah.
But at a place where kinksters are, first of all, clearly the rule was there, so clearly it was stated at some point, don't touch what's not yours without permission. But, I mean, aren't we all legal adults who learned that at age 5?
One would
Keep your
hope.
hands to yourself?
One would hope.
I mean, I know we live in a world where people touch pregnant people's bellies without permission. Oh, God, when it happened to me, it was awful.
And
Mostly because, get out of my fucking personal bubble space.
Right.
We have people who touch black women's hair. Like, what the fuck is that about? But in a kink-specific setting, who is going up and just, you touch my collar, I might learn how to punch real quick. What the actual fuck?
it was nice and cool in here.
I know, I'm very hot and sweaty now.
The temperature's going up.
Yeah, I'm contributing to the global warming in our office right now. You know what? I also, because I have no faith in this dom, because they've done nothing in this, makes me think that they are anything but victim blaming and projecting something and just not supportive of their submissive at all. I can't help but think that there was no way this submissive could have responded to the situation that the dom would have approved of.
Probably not.
It's like, okay, you stood up for yourself in the moment and then told somebody with authority, maybe it was the day later, but you still told them eventually.
Right.
Okay, that's one way to respond. What if the submissive had freaked out and needed to run away and leave and or had the freeze response and fight, flight, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have no faith that this motherfucker would have been supportive of any fucking way that their submissive handled it.
Yeah, no.
None at all.
Because I know if you had come to me like that, the first thing I'd be like, "Are you okay? What do you need?"
That is the question.
Yeah.
Where was that question?
I know.
Okay, I'm having some sweet tea, and I will not stop sweating no matter how calm I get because I'm at that stage of life. We're gonna move on from that motherfucker.
Yeah.
And there goes the YouTube monetization was gone from the beginning, but it is really gone now. Okay. This one is a simple one to us. Because
Okay.
we have lived these kinds of things.
Oh, dear.
But I know that we are always getting people from all across the spectrum of kink experience. And so I was like, yeah, sure. And this is not one to make me mad. This is actually very sweet. Just, okay. Tried a new kink during sex and we need some advice. Hello, I'm a 30 female with my husband, 34 male. We've been together about 6 years, and our sex life has always been vanilla. Most extreme has been some spanking. We're both low libido, so sex only happens a few times a month. Understand that. Last time we did it, I was starting to crave more intensity, I think. My brain was in a weird space of wanting more and harder. When I mentioned it to my husband, he joked, "What, you want me to choke you or something?" So we tried it while I used a toy on myself, and it was intense. The thing is, he wasn't even really choking me, just had his hand on my throat while holding me through it. I've never orgasmed that hard in my life, like I squirted everywhere for the first time. But then I started crying. I don't know why I did, and I still can't explain it. My husband held me for almost a half hour afterwards, and it was so strange. Like, I wasn't sad or in pain. I actually felt really safe, but I felt really floaty after, like I wasn't there. It has left us both curious but unsure where to start. I feel a bit confused about the whole thing. Like, I always thought I wouldn't like choking at all, but here we are. Edit to add, I really want to say thank you to everyone who commented on this post. My husband and I sat together and read every comment and had a very nice discussion about exploring the more kinky side of us. This is probably one of the nicest communities we've interacted with on Reddit. LOL, we'll definitely be coming back. This is so wholesome. Like,
yeah,
they didn't have the language for things, and they didn't have, like, here's the 85 steps to take for a try a new kink thing.
Yeah.
And it's still, like, I mean, we get clear communication. We get experimentation. We get aftercare. We clearly get some subspace there.
Yep.
It's so wholesome.
It is.
It's so wholesome.
It's very cool.
It is very cool.
Yeah.
So for anybody who's confused about the crying, it is not uncommon at all for there to be an emotional release that involves tears at the end of, it can be an orgasm. It can be many of us who are into spanking and impact. It could be at the end of an impact scene. There's just like, you are taken to a point where the release occurs like biochemically in the body. And then for some people, some of the time it will come out in tears for sure. So that's a completely normal thing. But if anybody's like, how should I approach this? Is like, this is like the sweetest, kinkiest, most innocent like way that they managed to, in a healthy way, make their way through the process.
Yeah.
I love it.
But you know what? You come onto these places and you hear so many bad things. You know? So much bad. And it's refreshing.
It is.
To read something like that.
Yes. It is. Yeah. You know. So yeah, for anybody who's like, why the release? It's because that can happen, and that's it. Excuse me, leftover cough from being sick. To my knowledge, you've never had that kind of release at the end of anything.
Me, no.
Have you ever had what you would consider an emotional release that was like different from your usual state at the end of something like nice?
I mean,
like that?
Not to the point of crying, but I have had drop enough times to know, and a few times it hit me. It was almost flu-like symptoms.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
for sure.
But no, never to the point of having that kind of release though.
So my first ever real orgasm, there was nothing kinky about it. Pure vanilla. It wasn't even that great. I think we just accidentally hit the right spot. Was not a great sex life to begin with, but it was, I mean, it wasn't awful. It was mediocre to the point of being unforgettable. I didn't quite know I was having an orgasm. I look back like years later, I'm like, oh, that is what happened. It was clearly my first real one that I did not fake. Had it and cried like a baby. Like, my immediate response as the orgasm like finished, like rushing through my system, was tears. And I started laughing at the same time. That's another emotional response some people can have at the end of something like that with a release. They could start laughing. And I was embarrassed and I was sobbing, but I was laughing because I'd never felt like that before. But I didn't have language, so it wasn't like I was saying I'd never had an orgasm before. I was like, sex never felt like that before. But you and I mean, sure, in impact scenes, yes, it has happened. Not in a long time where I've cried at the end, but we have had just kinky sex moments where it's fucking, and at the end I'm like sobbing and laughing at the same time.
Yes.
Because that was the physical release was the orgasm, the mental and emotional release was both laughing and crying. So okay, we needed a palate cleanser after the motherfucker. So
Right.
okay, let's
That
go to
was
the
a good
next one. Oh, this one, I felt all the empathy. Okay, here we go. This one's interesting. Broken headspace because of child. You're not prepared for this. Okay.
Oh.
There's no way to give full context, so I'll keep this to just the facts. My brat has children. One is a late-stage teenager. My brat just found out that her teenager is into BDSM with her boyfriend and that they use the same titles we do. Now my brat is utterly put off by our titles, doesn't know if she wants to continue our dynamic, and isn't sure if she even wants to continue in BDSM. All of it reminds her of her kid, which understandably disrupts her headspace severely. My question, what in the world do we do? I've told her it'll get easier with time. In the short run, we've suspended our dynamic, but neither of us wants that long term. She wants to do our thing, but can't get it out of her head. Our titles seem to be absolutely tainted for her. Please, someone tell me for certain that this will fade with time. Someone please tell me it will pass quickly. I feel their desperation.
Yeah.
But as a mom with a
know-
late-stage teenager,
Yeah.
I felt that.
The thing with the titles, yeah, I can kind of get that to a certain extent.
It depends on how they found out, too.
True.
Like, I have questions. I would like to hear from the brat, please. What
Yeah.
the fuck happened?
Right. But, I think they are missing a very big point here. They have an opportunity that not many people have. A teenager, don't.
And we have to, they say late stage teenager, so my mind is at 18, 19.
Yeah.
I guess maybe as young as 17, but let's hope this is a legal adult territory, because that's a different conversation if we're outside of legal adulthood.
Yeah.
That's a different concern or thing
Yeah.
to think about, or
But
whatever.
if the person is of legal age, this is an opportunity to sit down and educate them.
Make sure they're you can't say being safe because there's no such thing, but assessing their risk, like they're
Right,
aware
that
of the risk.
That they understand the risk, that they,
Right.
they understand and know what they are partaking in, and the consequences of what can happen to another person, but also the good that can come of it,
Right.
when it's done right. So, I think they're kind of missing that a little bit.
I think they're mind fucking themselves in the wrong way.
Yeah.
But I also can understand that initial reaction of, I don't want to do anything that I associate with my child. Like, I think any of us can understand that, but I think that I believe there absolutely is a way to move beyond and past that and to kind of compartmentalize and put that out of your mind. I would be curious as to how fresh this information is. I mean, are we talking it's been a couple of days? Also, I do think maybe it matters how they found out. Did they walk in on a scene
Yeah.
and they heard child using language to their partner that they themselves, the brat, would be?
Yeah.
Like, that's on a different level from knowing about it sort of analytically, cerebrally. We just found out, but we didn't witness anything. Like, I think a strong reaction like that to me would make a lot more sense if I witnessed something that I just didn't want to witness. That could have gone my whole life without. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Also, does the teenager, are they living at home? Could they be having scenes in the privacy of their bedroom? And as a parent, is the brat going, oh my God, are they having scenes at the same time I'm having scenes and we're saying this? Like, I think there's a point where you can overthink this and get yourself really wrapped
really
up.
wound up. Yep.
Yeah, for sure. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah. And I mean, everybody has their own comfort with things. Many, many years ago, I knew a mom who was in the lifestyle, still is actually. Her daughter came out in the lifestyle, and she actually helped her daughter negotiate her first scene.
I remember you telling me about that.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, if you are able, you're in a situation like that and you're able to handle it that way, I find that admirable. I think of who my children are as people, and they would be like, I will never go to a club while you're there or the one you're going to. I'm going to the other one, that whatever it is that you're not going to. So I think, you know, I really would love to know more of the details, mostly because I'm nosy, but also because I think it might help make sense of the response. Beyond that, you know, depending on how this person is wired and how they handle stressful things and shock and, you know, things that they didn't think they'd ever have to think about in general, yeah, I think you do kind of get past it at a certain point. I think if the terms are completely just like off-putting now, because you know, you got a kid out there using the same terminology, there's nothing wrong with going, okay, can we just use different words?
Yeah.
Are there other, I mean, because there are, God knows there are other ways to like label this or honorifics to use or pet names to use. Like there's so many options.
Absolutely.
But I don't know that I think I would only go to that point personally if the way I discovered it and the details around the discovery were somehow just a big fucking deal, then maybe. But I really think with time and just, I mean, as parents, we have to, you compartmentalize a lot of fucking shit. You know, to me, you kind of have to, because in no world do I want to think about sex in the same vein as my children. Like, that's not, so I don't. Like, I just, in my mind, there are barriers. And yet, you have to have a bit of a crossing over if you're going to have, like, you know, safer sex, you know, preparation with your kids and contraceptions and, you know, STI prevention. And, like, at some point, the barrier's got to, like, lift a little bit. But mostly it's like, yeah, maybe my kid has sex, but I don't need to know about it. And I don't need to think about it beyond, we're not having no babies before we're going to have babies, right? Or do I need to take you to a clinic to get tested or something? We'll do it. But like, there's a barrier within my own mind of what I'm willing to think about. But also, if I walked in on a kid having sex, I don't think I could scrub that out of my mind very quickly, and I would need some time to scrub it from my mind. And I think that's fair. You know, I do. So, yeah, it was an intriguing question, because on one hand, it's why I'm so nosy and want the details of how they found out. I'm like, yeah, if I walked in on a scene, that sounds like a personal nightmare. I'm not mature enough for that, and I don't want that in my head ever. But I also think, because I think about the conversations we've had with the kids about sex in general, it's like, if I got the opportunity as a parent to have the entryway to that conversation without it being creepy or weird, right, or mortifying, to be able to go, hey, I know that you're into this. I got some experience. We won't talk about that, but can I check in with you? Can we have this conversation? I just want to make sure you're taking care of yourself as best you can, right? So there's some things you might want to know that you don't know yet, right? Like, and if I found my underage kid into kink, I'd be like, we have to have a different conversation. You know, but I think it might be a time thing, or just change the titles. But I do think it depends on how they found out.
True.
That's what I say.
Mm-hmm.
But there we go. Okay. Actually, these are going faster than I thought they would. We have literally one more left.
All right. Wow. Okay.
Yes, Reddit. I'm over 18. Please let me read this post. God damn. Okay. Submissive partner wants no safe word and no way of revoking consent. My submissive partner and I sometimes engage in consensual non-consent. Recently, they told me they want to play without any way of revoking their consent during the scene. They said they want to be in a, quote, unsafe position so that I can care for them and that they trust me and they'd enjoy it no matter what I did. I brought up scenarios of them possibly not enjoying it, which they denied being possible, and possible accidental death or injury, and they said just to avoid anything that would cause those, death or injury possibilities, and that if something seriously dangerous was happening, they would appear frantic. Setting aside my personal comfort with this, I just want to know, is this an actual thing people do? Can this be done ethically and morally? What are your thoughts?
I don't know. I don't like it. Initially, it kind of hit me. It's like, no, this is wrong. and yet, I'm coming from a place that I don't really engage in that kind of play, so I don't really know.
Right. Do I think it is possible to have a type of CNC that is heavily negotiated where the submissive is at the mercy of their dominant partner? Of course. The part that makes me uncomfortable, not with the CNC part. Like, that part, I mean, I might have my own reservations. I certainly will be like, be careful. Sure. The part that makes me uncomfortable about this is the submissive partner's inability or unwillingness to admit that mistakes fucking happen and that their partner would just magically know, or that they would appear frantic enough in a way that was outside of context. Like, I guess part of that depends on the CNC scene you want. If frantic should not be the emotion you're showing and you are frantic, that could be a signal. But if there's like some element of danger, which it kind of sounds like that's some part of what they want, frantic is a very natural response to things that are not like going to kill you in the scene. And quite frankly, why is the limit just don't do anything that would kill me? Like, I feel like the limit should come inside that line more.
Yeah.
What is happening? If the Dom moved forward with a partner who was like, I trust you, you'll be fine, just watch my signals, and they're not willing to admit, something could go wrong, and we can't predict everything, blah, 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 blah. To me, then it's unethical and immoral to continue that scene with that partner who is not thinking about the risks clearly enough, right? They're not being realistic in their risk assessment, depending on what the scene is, right? If you talk through it, and if the Dom is actually comfortable, because they're already saying, putting my own comfort aside, well, that sounds like you're not comfortable, right? So, first of all, you don't have to do the scene when you're uncomfortable. You're not a kink dispenser. Please, don't do anything you're uncomfortable with. You get limits, too. It's weird to have to tell a Dom you get limits, too, because you should know. But it gets forgotten, apparently. But I think that's, if you're gonna do that scene, especially if it's your first time with something that kind of, wide open in scene typically means there was a whole hell of a lot of discussion before the scene.
Yeah.
Right? I also think that if you go forward with that, assuming the submissive partner is realistic about the potential for risk and is understanding that, and they, come up with whatever that makes both partners feel comfortable, blah, blah, blah. To me, then the responsibility is on the Dom to play well within the limits and not to strike out too far, or not with new shit, not with things that more easily cause harm. Like, don't choke no damn body, right? Like,
right? Yeah.
I just, if the submissive partner just truly is like, I don't want to have to say no, I think the fantasy of that is fine too. I mean, I have fantasies of that, and it's not fucking happening in my lifetime. No, thank you, but I could fantasize. But I think that the conversation of this is how I ideally would like it to go. I would like to not have to use a safe word. I would like to not have to. I'd like you to just literally do whatever you want. The fail-safe has to be, okay, but there's got to be a signal.
Right.
If something goes wrong. Because even if the Dom is, so careful and stays within, well within limits and doesn't, try anything that is, air quote, this obviously dangerous, it's all risky and dangerous, there's still human error.
Murphy's Law.
Anything can... I mean, as simple as I was thinking about this when I was reading this earlier. we get silly with the paddle sometimes. We'll be moving real fast. We're not, like, this is not a serious, like, sedate impact scene. It's like wild and crazy.
Right.
And I can move one way as JB's coming down real fast and he's not focused on my ass the way he would normally be, and he can hit me in the wrong spot. Yeah. Well, there are spots we don't want me to be hit. It is my job to go, whoa, that landed wrong.
Yep.
So if that happens, say in a CNC scene, and it's to the level of like potential actual harm, there's got to be a way to go, whoa.
Yeah.
You might have missed that one. Or tying somebody up and now something is pinched, or falling asleep that shouldn't be, or there's a circulation issue that ideally, of course, the Dom is so heavily focused, they're going to notice it, but human fucking error exists.
Right.
Like, I just...
Right.
Yes, there's an ethical and moral way to play with CNC, but abdicating all of your personal responsibility as a submissive, I don't think it's the way.
Yeah.
I don't think it's the way. I don't think it's the way, is what I'm saying. Do you have any thoughts on that one? I hijacked them all, as I often do. I'm sorry.
You're fine. You're fine.
The people who don't know us that keep finding us, they really don't like it. They'll be okay. The rest of y'all like it, or you tolerate it, so it's fine.
I'm just along for the ride.
That was actually our last post. I thought, however many, 5, 6. I was like, that'll be plenty. Apparently, we're so excited to be here, we just zipped through them all. And really, I had more that I was choosing from, because I'll go through Reddit and I'll be like, okay, what's vaguely interesting? And then I'll look at it and be like, meh, I don't know. And if they're like, I then whittle them down. So it wasn't like I had 20 and I was like, oh, I better pick the top 5 or 6. It was like, there was one interesting one. I'm not going to be able to give details because I can't read it. But I found it semi-interesting because your experience is the opposite, so I wondered what your insight would be. But basically, they are a caregiver Dom, and their submissive partner is a masochist and wants to explore that more. The caregiver Dom, have their own fantasies that they have about sadism, but they've never experienced it. And so their kind of question was, how do you make the shift from caregiver to sadist? And of course, my initial thought is, well, you don't have to make a full shift. You can be both.
And you can be both. And,
right.
And you can look at it as a caregiver. You're giving the person care by giving them what they want.
And also, as long as it's within the submissive limits,
Right.
If you are interested in it and want to explore it. I think part of the problem that some people have, and I know I can be this way too, is you think about, let's say, sadism, right? You have some picture in your mind as a kinkster of what that will look like, what that means based on your own fantasies, based on whatever. And I think a lot of people in their mind think it goes from 0 to 60. It's, I didn't do it, now I do all of the things, and I'm a rat bastard who, beats on my partner consensually. And it's like, I mean, you could get there, but you don't have to you don't start there. You start small. You start with, and you build up with confidence and testing limits and feedback and check-ins and whatever. But
you don't jump into the deep end without knowing how to swim.
I mean, some people do, and it does not seem to end well.
No,
so
does not.
Yeah, but there's also, I think, the problem of, and it's not always newer kinksters. I've seen long-term kinksters who kind of struggle with this. Two things can be true at once. You can be a daddy Dom who's got a sweetheart side, who just wants to take care of his baby girl and was very proud of her for going to take a nap when she was sick. And also, 30 seconds later, be absolutely willing to beat the shit out of her consensually and laugh at her pain. We all contain multitudes, okay? Sometimes you get the 80s sitcom crossover episodes where all of your sides are out at once and you're somehow playing with all of it at once, and sometimes it's, more compartmentalized.
More focused.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I've been reading a lot of smut lately.
Yeah.
This is still
Well,
kink
where?
conversation. We're not in the bonus section yet. This kind of ties together. And it kind of goes with a future episode I want to do. I actually jotted down the idea. You'd be very proud of me. Where I've been reading, I finally came across a series that it was not power exchange. There was nothing negotiated. There was not a safe word. I was able to suspend disbelief. It was delightful. It was kinky as fuck, and I was into it. And a part of it, there was degradation kink in there, and it was like hitting some of my buttons, right? And what was happening in some but not all of the scenes, they would go with, it was 4 to 5 men, depending on where you are in the series, and this one woman, and they would go from being really sweet to her and just, you are my queen, you are my princess, you're my this, to literally spitting in her mouth and calling her like their little fuck toy. And I was like, I am here for it. And I was
Okay.
So I don't want anybody to spit in my mouth. I got a body fluid thing. That's a hard limit.
But the rest, yeah.
You can lick me. Well, I mean, not anybody, but
Yeah, I know.
You can lick me, but also don't lick me in certain places because that's too wet and I don't like how that feels. Fantasy and fiction is great, okay? Because I can be anyone I want to be in my head. I can't be out in real life. But the push and pull, the dichotomy of how super tender and sweet they were, and then it flipped literally like paragraph to paragraph, and and I was like, yes, that is what I want. And we don't play like that. You don't go from sweet daddy to like being like
0 to 60, yeah.
Objectively on outside looking and mean to me. What I'm saying is I'm not opposed to it. Just don't spit on me. I'm not.
Well,
I know some people are, and reading about it in the right context. Ooh, that was another thing with this particular series. When they did it consensually and it was like all this like hot kinky sex, it was hot. I was like, get your spit away from me, but do that to her again. I'm here for it. But then at the end of another book where like we were at a cliffhanger, I thought I was finishing a series that was complete. There's still a book left. I'm a little annoyed. Whatever. But they get to the end and the bad guy has her, and he's a lot of things as one of the baddies, but he's written as like, I kind of like talk to the author because he's written as like the Dom motherfucker that I hate. And that's what he thinks being a master is. There's no power exchange to it, but there's that persona of, this is how I talk to somebody who's, who I have control over, and I'm always the master. It's like every air quote Dom thing from like the internet. This guy. So at a certain point in the book, he spits in her mouth, and I'm ready to punch this motherfucker. And I'm like, that was grotesque. Also, it was still kind of a turn on, but that's my own personal kinks. And we're not getting into that. So.
Right.
I say all that to say we can contain multitudes. And also, simmering in the back of my brain is an episode on, focus more on a little bit of kinky fuckery than just power exchange. So, but mostly because I think part of me would like to see some more of your sadist, but your sadist that's been out to play lately has been into how much can I make that hurt in a way I know she hates. It's fun for him, and I'm happy to provide the service. But that doesn't, like, the submission of it does more for me than the masochism of it part. And it's like part of my masochist would be like, could you be mean to me, but then make sure I know you do it in a loving way? Like, you're treating me like trash because you love me. Does that sound toxic? Yes. But we play with taboos in kink, and it's fine. It's fine. Also, I'm just saying, finally coming across actual kinky sex, not negotiated, no safe word, no, but actual kinky sex in the smut I've been reading was like, it's like a breath of fresh air, y'all. I was like, the heavens open, the sun was shining. I was like, yes, I've been reading a lot of fucking vanilla sex lately, and it was wearing me down. Anyway, we're so off the rails it's not even funny, but it was kink themed, so I kept it in the regular episode, and now we can do a bonus section
wrap
if
it up
you'd like.
now?
Yes.
Okay. So, Are we good?
I don't know. I'm hot and sweaty. Does that count?
Well, that's a given. Yeah.
The blood pressure. Yeah.
Okay.
Keep it kinky, y'all. And we'll see you next week, assuming I don't get sick again. Dottie.
Yes.
Can we talk to the crickets?
Go ahead.
Not about my kinky fantasies. We're done with that part. We're done with that part. I will say, speaking of books, so The Brutes of Bristlebrook was a series that I don't know how long ago I just was enamored with the series. Rebecca Quinn is the author. I think I read it more than a year ago, maybe even longer than that. Kindle Unlimited is about to tell me because I'm about to do a reread of the first 2 books because the 3rd book comes out on Monday, June 16th. And so Friday, I will be starting the series again because 1, I loved it that much and I don't reread very often, but 2, so that I am completely on it with the details for book 3. Now, the series I just finished, which finished on a to me a good cliffhanger, like I was like, oh my god, I want to know more. That book comes out at the end of August. I will have forgotten about half the details by the time that comes out, but enough of it was like is sticking in the memory banks. Like I can't stop thinking about certain scenes that I think I'll remember. It'll be fine. But yeah. So yay. And yes, I said it before, I'll say it again. We were gone last week because I got sick.
Mm-hmm.
It was like a head cold. It was nothing major. It wasn't like go to a doctor worthy. I never even had a fever, which I don't know how you'd tell. I run hot all the fucking time. I am always hot and sweaty unless I'm in a cold, dark room. But I never had a fever. I had a horrible sore throat, developed into a cough that has stayed in my throat. It never went to my chest. I was just fucking exhausted. And then I was like, I'm going to go lay down. Mm-hmm. I slept for 2 days. I tried to sleep all day Wednesday because, last week was supposed to be the first week of the summer schedule. So I was like, I got the whole day. I won't work. I'll just sleep and see how I feel.
How'd that go for you?
Even with all the sleep, towards the end of the day, I felt worse and worse and worse. So I was like, okay, guess we're not doing this. But yeah, so I still have a lingering cough, which does make my throat hurt a little bit. But the first 3 days of it was when I was tempted to go to the doctor because I was like, my throat is on fire. Is this strep? And I was like, I've had strep. This isn't strep. I don't know what this is.
Well, you got lucky. I told you one day, I said, tomorrow you're calling telemed. Then by tomorrow you were feeling better. Mm-hmm. The next day, anyway.
Well, and also at that point I didn't have any symptoms that they would tell me, take some cold medicine or something, rest, hydrate, and I was like, we're already doing it, so. But yeah, so that's where we were. As far as I know, we're back. On it. I've had since taking the few days off, and then through the weekend I didn't do much. Came back on Monday like it was a regular week finally, and I have had a ton of energy. Your girl
is awake.
Is a menace. So that's Lola in the background for anybody who's new. I am very proud of myself for not interrupting you, actually. You were speaking during the actual episode, and I look up at your dog, and she had her blanket kind of twisted in a way. She's on her cot in the office, where there was a gap in the blanket, and it was Lola's head size, and she just ducked her face
into it,
hid her face in the blanket, and stayed there, and then would pull it out, and then go back in, and pull it, and I'm like, I'm watching her, but you're trying to be a professional, and I was like, fuck, I gotta let him talk.
I know she does that. Mm-hmm. She likes to bury her head. Mm-hmm. Was it last night? This morning? One of the two, sitting on the couch, and she buried her head, in my side.
Aw, that's because she loves you, and as we know, you love her more than anybody on this planet. And I know. She's not allowed to go anywhere for many, many years, but she is a dog, and she's a larger dog. We understand. Man, this man's going to take to the bed. I promise you. I promise you.
Promise the vapors.
there will be no episode that week because he would. And I don't say this to like as in a mocking way. The depth of your emotion is commendable, but this man will weep, and I know he will because he weeps over other things. And Lola is more important to him than the other things he weeps over. And I would not ask him to get on camera and just snotty cry on the internet. I wouldn't do it. But my point is, I'm not sure I would get that reaction at my untimely demise. I feel like he would keep himself together. Because I am not JB's soul dog, and Lola is, okay? Like, he likes me good enough, but no. So, I mean, I love the fact that you love her so much. I love the fact that you're in touch with your emotions, and you're not afraid to show the whole breadth of emotions. Like, you know, you're not that typical kind of like cis man that thinks anger is not an emotion, you know, like, what? But I do know that nobody has your heart the way Lola does. Nobody, y'all. Nobody. Mm-hmm. You know it's true. You know it's true.
Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
I just want to say I was sick for a few days, and my daddy Dom checked on me and made sure that I took my medicine, and that was wonderful. And I know that I'm loved and cared for. This is not about me somehow lacking anything. That is not it. But I also witnessed JB make specialty snacks for his dog.
I did.
He had to make sure we had the snacks that required ingredients, y'all. There were steps to it. She loves them. I'm happy for her. I'm not going to begrudge anybody a treat or a snacky snack, okay? Not at all. I'm just saying, you have never made me a specialty snack. Not once.
I made you a whole dinner a week ago.
I know, as my belated Mother's Day present. I know. You did. And I was really appreciative of it. I'm just saying that Lola doesn't have to have a holiday
No.
to be pampered. It's illustrative of your devotion to the dog that none of us, the rest of us on the planet, do not have your heart that way. I mean, I'm going to stuff you and lean you on the mantle, but I'm pretty sure you're not going to do the same in return. If the roles are reversed, I feel like you're going to be like, okay, I got to get this bitch out of this house or she's going to haunt me.
You know, when you were sick the other day, last week, all I could think about was, my God, if something happened to her, I wouldn't be long for this world.
It's because I'm doing that very stereotypical heterosexual wife thing of keeping you alive better than you will keep you alive. Like, apparently I'm not ever dug deep into this. I'm only like, it's headline surface. Like, I don't know the details, but apparently there are studies that show that in heterosexual marriages, or heterosexual appearing, let's put it that way, men live longer while their wife is alive. Mm-hmm. But if, like, their wife dies, men don't live as long. And women live what is it? Women live shorter lives when they're married. Men live longer. That's what it is. That's what I'm remembering correctly. Yes. Single women live longer than married women. I'm not trying to be a statistic here, so I am trying to take care of myself and assuming that I will have a partner that takes care of me too. But yes, women do spend a lot of time keeping their husbands alive. We make sure you go to the doctor. We make sure you have the medications. We make sure you take the medications. At the same time as we're making sure you have deodorant and soap and I don't have to deal with clean clothes, thankfully. And what are we going to eat for dinner tomorrow and the next day? I know. I don't know what life I'd have to live for either of us. I don't want you to have to do it either. For either of us to ever not have to, like, fucking plan a meal and decide what we were going to eat ever again. Like, I don't... I mean, I guess you have to be, like, at a point where you get, like, a personal chef and you're like, here, these are my allergies and these are foods I don't like. Just fucking cook something. Don't tell me what it is. And, that's not good. No, I don't know. But, yeah, I would kill for whatever that is where you never have to decide what your next fucking meal's going to be.
Yeah.
I can't, like, this week I have not even hardly eaten lunch well, like a balanced meal, because I'm like, I just open the fridge or I open the pantry and I'm like... None of this. Whatever this, none of this.
I start out really good in the morning with breakfast.
Yeah. My breakfast,
Okay?
I got that on lock.
Breakfast is good. After that, everything's just downhill from there.
Yep. Kim says that not having to pick your meals is called childhood. And the downside to childhood was, like, easily 30% of the time I was like, oh my god, I do not want to eat this. And I'm pretty sure the baby girl in me would do that again. I would complain about at least 30% of the meals that were just set in front of me. I'm positive of that. Yeah. I had another thought and then like it was there and I was like, oh, and then and you can hear the wind whistling. Swiss cheese brain, okay? My brain is Swiss cheese. I had a whole thought. Like, it was a thought that I could then, like, expand upon. And there's something wrong with knowing you had the thought and not knowing what the thought is. It's like it never existed. No, I don't. I don't know. I don't know. That's all I can say.
You
now.
don't know?
I don't know if I'm winding down like a toy that's like run out of battery life or.
I am.
I know. Hey, I was pretty proud of us. We both worked this morning, like did some stuff because we were not prepping for a midday live stream. And then we both took the afternoon and just like chilled. So we would have the energy for tonight. I was very proud of us. Last summer, I would start working at 8 a.m. and I'd still be working at 9 p.m. And I did that wrong. Yeah. I did that so wrong. Yep. I'm not doing it wrong this year.
right now, I enjoy having the little extra day, the time in the shop.
Yeah, we need it. We're like, we've got to restock.
Yeah.
And for thekinkry.com.
Yeah. Well, about to make a big push here, so.
I know, because we want to have a summer sale.
Yep.
I did this around Mother's Day, and then I had the thought out. Every year I have the thought around Father's Day because, hello, JB is daddy, right? Of doing a play on words for daddy, mommy. But I don't want to deal with the people who won't like that. So I'm like, you know what? We just gonna skip this and call it a summer sale. There we go. No, I really did have a thought. Also, y'all know I could just hang out with y'all and say nothing. It's comfortable silence for me. There's guilt behind it because I recognize that the position we're in, if I turn the mic and the camera on and start like streaming and recording, it is my responsibility to keep the conversation going. But I really could sit in silence here and just hang out. But I'm also the one that... and you do this too. We very rarely need to call each other. We are together every day. But when we need to call one another, especially if like JB would be driving home from somewhere, it's a long drive, we'll just sit quietly on the phone. The problem is, and I like that, especially like back in the day we were long distance for sure. When you had a big boy job in an office, I liked it then. Problem is, because I know I'm going to see him, he's going to pull in the driveway in a few minutes. I'm usually trying to do something else. And I'm like, I want to sit in comfortable silence, but also guess we could be done because that thought never came back to me.
Okay.
And I am ready to go sit in a cold, dark room and stop sweating.
Yeah.
Silent had a good question in live chat. Should we be doing a Patreon Discord group call where we just put each other on in the background? I'm here for body doubling to get shit done. That's how the youngest gets school done. Somebody's sitting in the room and they are able to, and I know that I can be like that. Some of my most productive days are the days when JB's sitting at his desk too. So maybe, I don't know. I have to think about that. Yeah, I guess I can stop dragging this out and prolonging the ums, the uhs, and the thought that is not coming back. It's gone into the ether. Into the ether.
There you go.
So yeah, I guess we shall be done now.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for staying to the bitter end. And we'll see y'all next week.
Yep.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.